And I had a choice in that moment. I could essentially go my separate ways from my dad, or I could leave the past in the past and start fresh, a clean, new page, probably even a whole new book at that point. Um, and I chose that path of love, to have him in my life and to, in a way, break a cycle, to not let this one experience define what our entire journey. And there was so much life, so much more life beyond that time. Yes, 19 years is a lot, but there's still so much time beyond that. And choosing this path of love, choosing this path, and choosing this path of love has given me more than I could have ever asked for. It's given me the gift of having to experience what it's like to be an older sister, to have two younger siblings, to create new memories with my dad, and to have him involved and there on my wedding day. It's given me back my voice. Unleash the untapped potential within you as we dive fearlessly into the realms of healing, personal growth, self-love, and uncharted territories of the human experience. Join us as we navigate relationships, conquer career and business milestones, and explore the depths of spirituality. This isn't just a podcast, it's a manifesto for the resilient, the ambitious, the soul-searching women and men of today. Grab your coffee and let's dive in with Beyond the Surface. Before we fully dive into this episode, I want to invite you and share with you a special collaboration that I'm doing with two of my soul sisters, Tina Adoricio and Judy Machado. We are bringing our love for cacao and breathwork for a virtual ceremony on September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're calling it Sacred Renewal. And there's something about this right before the fall equinox that is just going to make it even more special. And if you are in this space where you are ready to transform and alchemize and release something, or maybe a couple things, then this is the space that will be all of that and more. And the link is going to be down below for you, and it's going to be by donation, and I would absolutely love to see you there. All right, let's dive in to the rewrite. So once we let all of these emotions arise, now we can start our rebirth. But first, there's kind of like this human struggle, this challenge. And in the last episode, I left you with how I wrote a letter to my dad. But the thing is things did not change overnight. After I gave the letter to my dad, it still took a few months, believe it or not, before anything transpired from it. I had to reach out. I had to initiate. And honestly, my ego didn't want to go first. My soul knew that I had to, but my ego didn't want to. And when my dad and I finally went for a drive to talk, and to talk about my letter, to talk about really the last 19 years of my life, it sparked the most profound healing through forgiveness. I was really in a place where I was tired of holding on to anger. And it was through putting my words onto paper that I could feel the sensation of physically letting all the anger and the sadness and the disappointment and the resentment go, along with realizing that it just wasn't who I wanted to be. I knew I had so much love in my heart to give and wanted to give. And I couldn't do that with all the anger I was feeling. And what's even more powerful that I've learned recently was through using my voice, finally, because I feel like I had been silenced, and specifically towards the person I felt most silenced by in ways. There was something that really shifted in me writing this letter and being truth, and really speaking my truth. And this is just something that I've only recently been able to fully understand the power of this moment as I reflect back on this time in my life. And once we start to shed light on our shadows and sit with the emotions and the experiences, and we experience ourselves in a way where we are the observer, we can begin to see things in a new light. And that's when we can finally rewrite the story, is when we can see the other side, when we can see another perspective, we can see another outcome or another way that we can move through something. And I had a choice in that moment. I could essentially go my separate ways from my dad, or I could leave the past in the past and start fresh, a clean, new page, probably even a whole new book at that point. And I chose that path of love, to have him in my life, and to, in a way, break a cycle, to not let this one experience define what our entire journey. And there was so much life, so much more life beyond that time. Yes, 19 years is a lot, but there's still so much time beyond that. And choosing this path of love has given me more than I could have ever asked for. It's given me the gift of having to experience what it's like to be an older sister, to have two younger siblings, to create new memories with my dad, and to have him involved and there on my wedding day. It's given me back my voice, and also witnessing the depth of which I can love, be loved, and love others. It's, I think, such a profound experience that has allowed me to experience so much love with my partnership, and being able to take this next chapter and go on this journey of becoming married and becoming one and experiencing marriage. But the best feeling from all of this, I have to say, is this feeling of inner peace. It's knowing that if tomorrow were my last day here on earth, or if it was, in this context, my dad's last day on earth, I have no regrets. Nothing I wish I would have said or did. And once we finally see ourselves from this bird's eye view, we can begin to see why. We can begin to understand why we do the things that we do, why we are who we are. And in ways we can celebrate the things that we love about ourselves, and acknowledge the parts of us that are operating from a wounded experience. And when we can see ourselves from the observer, from this perspective, we can be open to a new perspective and begin to make these new choices and create these new narratives, and ultimately rewrite the story. Rewriting our stories isn't easy. Of course it's not. And we're eventually going to be tested. And what I mean when I say that is this perfect example where 2 years ago on my birthday, my dad didn't call me. And instead, he did a quick little post on Facebook, and I was so disappointed and let down. And several months later, I finally shared how disappointed I was and how hurt I was. And honestly, it was still a little uncomfortable to bring it up, but I knew that I had to get it off my heart. So again, I could experience that inner peace and not holding on to what I was feeling. And the following year, he picked up the phone and called. And I had this moment too, where just realizing that there was a lot of time that he missed. Yes. And so he's also in this stage of kind of like relearning what it's like to have a relationship with me, have a relationship with my sisters, and his children that he had with my stepmom. And he's learning all the ways to have these different relationships because we're all different. And that's the thing with being a parent, is you have to know your child individually. They're not all the same, and be able to care for what they need. And so I had a lot of compassion for him in that moment too, where I was just like understanding like, you do have to relearn. And in order for you to know what I need to communicate that. So it's just this interesting, beautiful little dance. And no matter what, it constantly is this dance of always coming back to this inner peace by using my voice, speaking up, communicating, and letting the disappointment and the anger, continuing to release it and let it go, release it, let it go. And that's where we truly begin to continuously experience inner peace. So if you've enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen to the previous episodes in this Alchemy series. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, any reflections, any questions that are coming through. Feel free to DM me on Instagram, Words by Ashley Ann, or if you're listening on Spotify, you can comment right below. Same thing with on YouTube as well. I will see all your comments and reply back. And again, September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the link is below for you to come and be a part of Sacred Renewal. It is right before the fall equinox, and it is going to be such a beautiful space to experience cacao and breathwork. And as I said, it's by donation. And so I am sending you so much love, and I will see you next week in another episode. Thank you for listening. Make sure to leave a review and continue the conversation with me over on social media, and we'll see you in the next episode.